Hey everyone, it's been about 2 weeks since the Sims 4 Dine Out game pack has been released. In this particular game pack, you can run a restaurant or you can visit a restaurant. I got pretty bored with running a restaurant, but I do really enjoy visiting a restaurant. Restaurants are a really awesome addition because you could visit them with your friends and family. You could use a restaurant to host a wedding. You can have a birthday party at a restaurant. You could also have your date on a restaurant. So this really expands the amount of things that your sim could do. In order to prepare for these social events, I decided to go to each type of restaurant and I wanted to add a few things. So to the formal restaurant, I added some wedding arches. To the hamburger restaurant, I added arcade games and a card table so that when I host birthday parties there, people would have things to do. And that's especially good if you wanted to have a kids party at a restaurant. If you wanted to have a special event at a restaurant, the only thing you have to do is go to your sim cell phone and go to plan event, and you would do it like you would do any other event and any other outing. As you plan the event, you could invite about 15 sims. You could just invite a lot of sims. However, when you get to the restaurant, you can't have that many sims in a group to sit at a table. So what I like to do is I'll invite a bunch of sims, but I'd only pick a few core sims that I might want at my sims table. So as soon as I get there, I would form a group. And in that group, I put 8 sims. And then I would go to the hostess and request a table. One of the best things about going to the restaurant as a group and doing it as a social event is that it seems that your food would come out a lot faster. Whenever I would just go to the restaurant with friends or my family, your sims would be there forever. You would have to block out the entire day because it would take about 15 sim hours for one meal. So if you decide that you want to take your sim to a restaurant for dinner, be prepared to be there until lunchtime the very next day. During the social event, you want to go to the hostess and you want to pick a table. And as soon as you get to this table, you want to order your food for the guests. You want to do this as quickly as possible because you don't want time to run out on a timer. Now you'll notice when you go to a restaurant on a date, all of your goals and objectives will reflect being in a restaurant. So you'll do things like talk about your meal, feed each other, stuff like that. When you're ordering food, it's best to order a drink and only one meal. So don't try to go through the menu and order dinner and dessert because they're only going to end up getting one thing. So just order the drink and order the entree or appetizer, depending on whatever you want your sim to have. There's a lot of new interesting foods on the menu. I personally only order certain things because some things look completely gross. One of the nice things about restaurants is when you click the restaurant table, you'll have an option to put a cake on the table and you could choose what kind of event it's for. So if it's for a wedding, you want to pick a cake topper. Or if it's for a birthday, you'd want to add candles to the cake. During events while your sims are eating, you'll notice that your sims can talk about their food, if the food is good, if it's bad, if they like it, if they hate it. So I think that's a really fun and interesting interaction that was added to the game. You'll notice that your sims get positive moodlets for drinking and eating certain foods. But typically, after my sims finish their meal, I would bring out the cake. And usually once you bring out the cake for a birthday party, you will pretty much make gold on it. You'll find that some of your goals and objectives that are asked of you your Sims will not be able to perform. And that is why I went through and I added extra objects to these particular lots so that I could be sure that my Sim could accomplish all objectives and goals during a social event. Going out on dates in restaurants could be kind of annoying because sometimes your Sims might start roaming away and going to other conversations with other Sims. Or you might find that some of the objectives do not exactly reflect romance. They might want your Sims to become playful. Or you probably don't want your Sims to be playful. You might want your Sims to be romantic during a date. Also, when Sims go out as a family, you'll notice that sometimes some Sims might just randomly get up and go to the bar and things like that. So to combat that, a lot of times I'll just go to some of these lots and I delete the bars because it gets really irritating when you want your Sims to sit down as a family, yet the mother or the father wants to go over to the bar and have a drink. That's really irritating. At one point in time, I had some Sims invite friends out to dinner, and when the Sims invited them, the dinner took so long to come out. One of the guest Sims just decided to up and leave, while the people in the family, one peed themselves, the other just fell asleep in the middle of the restaurant floor because it took so long to get served. One of the things that could happen to your Sim upon visiting a restaurant is your Sim could get food poisoning. This is one of the worst things that could happen to your Sim, especially if they're at the restaurant for a wedding. You don't want your Sim to get sick. For those types of events, you might want to make sure you send your Sims to a restaurant where the cook is pretty good. There is a feature that I really dislike. If a Sim calls your Sim up to go out to dinner, your Sim is usually responsible for paying for the dinner. That could become a bit annoying because you're thinking, wait, you invited me, how come I always have to pay? A really annoying thing about visiting restaurants is if you are the owner of a restaurant, you will still be motivated to talk to your customers because you're still getting perks and points for that. So it's really difficult for a Sim to just visit their own restaurant that they own. It's possible, but honestly, I wouldn't visit a restaurant that I own. What if you visit the restaurant that you own and a food critic shows up? You wouldn't want your restaurant to be bad during those scenarios. That is pretty much all there is for the Sims 4 Dine Out game pack. I hope you enjoyed this video. Have fun and happy gaming.